Okay, so welcome everybody on today's webinar. On behalf of Wojciech Furmankiewicz and me, we are really excited to share with you the role of open virtualization in a modern data center. Wojciech, few words from you on the first slide.
Hello everyone, nice to have you here. So today we'll say about the open virtualization, what is the role, as Paweł said. I hope you will enjoy.
Okay, so first few slides about us. So first we'll start Wojciech. Wojciech is not typical architect. You see the bike here. So Wojciech, what about you?
Yeah, so as you can see, my hobby is motorbikes. I love music as well. That's something that keeps me awake. And every day I'm just, open source enthusiast and trying to drive adoption of open source technology in Central Eastern Europe, looking after the pre-sales organization at Red Hat.
Okay. About myself, I'm one of the co-founders of the Storware company. I'm saying about myself that I'm really addicted to the data protection solutions I serve in every combination. So I love cloud, love on-prem, but also love the open solutions like open virtualization. So I'm one of the people who are really engaged, like Wojciech, in open virtualization portal. And our goal is to share with you the best insights about what's going on in an open world. So you can find us on LinkedIn. You can write it as an email after that. So in case you will have any questions during the presentation, feel free. So what our goal today is to share with you how we see that the modern data center is changing. What challenges we see that today and administrators, today companies are struggling with. And Wojciech, could you explain a little bit why it's so density in the middle? What's going on the slide?
Yeah, so this is the recent research about virtualization trend and the usage, right? And if you think about what kind of virtualization majority of us is using, actually the vast majority is proprietary solutions like VMware, etc. So this reflects the challenges that our users or proprietary virtualization users are facing. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, budget and cost, that's a big constraint. Performance, reliability, network issues. In the middle, this is in this circle in the middle, there is a number of other challenges that actually we can understand that standard virtualization or classical virtualization we have has a lot of gaps in functionality. So management, automation, integration with third-party tools, scalability, those kind of things. People resources, right? How to really get rid of
hours.
Yeah, how to really let our people use their skills and capabilities to the higher targets, not just dealing with creating manually virtual machines, etc. So those are the real challenges. Actually, what I'd like to say here, when you think about the modern technology trends like containers, like microservices, and this kind of things that are really now very active and very sort of hype about that. Virtualization, the role of virtualization is actually becoming a solid foundation of everything else that we are going to use and build upon it. Mm-hmm. So actually it should be rock solid engine that it's not visible, doesn't take any of our time, right, or attention. It just be there and it should be working well, and that's it. So we'll show an example how to use the virtualization in a modern data center.
Okay, let me add one thing from my perspective, Wojciech. Mm-hmm. I see that many companies, many IT specialists, admins, so people which is connected to the infrastructure, they see that the virtualization is not enough, yes? They're looking for something more, not only from the cost perspective, but this is what's going on nowadays IT. Everybody moving forward to have a much more orchestration. They're looking for the private cloud, hybrid cloud, or even public cloud approach. So also, what I noticed when I, looking for some insights in 2016, 17, there was last time when the Gartner compared the virtualization engines. After that, the Gartner said that it's not only about the virtualization, it's all about the cloud management, much more, let's say, wider approach when we have a containers, when we have a different type of the workloads. And this, we have 2019, and we need to emphasize and a little bit see that the virtualization itself is really important, but we would like to see something more. And actually, we prepared for you today few things. I have a problem with my mouse. I don't know why. I'm trying to move. My mouse actually disappeared. So I cannot move to the next slide. This is quite crazy right now. Just give me a sec.
Okay, keep trying.
No, I put the I put the mouse that annotate. So I think you see that my mouse is right now going on the screen, but I cannot see it.
Yeah, we see the cursor with the name.
Yeah, but I don't see it, so it's a little bit crazy. I'm trying to try to go to the next slide.
Try to maybe use keyboard.
No. There is a small chance that I will. Yeah, we did it. It wasn't easy. Okay, so we prepared for you today a demo. So we will not only emphasize and go through the slides, but Wojciech prepared you a really good demo that we would like to show how the technology actually looks in a real, in a live demo. Yes.
Yeah, right. So we're going to show you how to build a basic example, a WordPress service, a virtual machine with the WordPress installed on it, using modern tools which are a bit beyond virtualization itself. So virtualization has its own role in the middle here. We'll be using Red Hat Virtualization in this example, but also automation engines like Ansible, which will build a WordPress, which will install WordPress component on a basic RHEL machine. So as you can see, creating, so user can click, can use service catalog. This is functionality delivered by CloudForms, so cloud management platform, another example of orchestration actually tool. And when you click, please give me create a WordPress VM. CloudForms will give two tasks to different engines. First, we'll ask for a generic Linux machine, and in this case we are using a RHEL template. And it's very important because why it's generic, because we don't need to keep and maintain many different options, many different versions of Linux image. It's just one basic image that we can use to many different in many different scenarios. And the other on the right side you see Ansible flow. So CloudForms will ask, okay, now make it a WordPress VM. So Ansible will apply a playbook that will make this VM, apply a role to this VM. The WordPress, of course, is just an example.
So Wojciech, I guess if I will stop sharing, you will share your screen and show how to start this automation.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen. So let's start with CloudForms. Actually, the demo will take a while, so I will just quickly show the user experience. I'm logging as an admin, so I have a bit more options than user, but it looks the same from the user perspective. So I'm going to click Catalogs and see what service catalogs do I have available. And our demo is here, Tower CloudForms and Tower Bundle. Means VM plus Ansible automation. And I just click order. When I order the service, I need to, I'm having a dialog where I input just the minimum necessary details about the service I'm going to implement. So let's say it will be WordPress. Let's call it like this. Okay. Additional parameter as an example. Let's specify the web service port. So you can imagine there can be any other options, any other parameters to define to order the service. And I just click submit. And in a while, I can see, okay, that this is the live demo, so expect unexpected. For example, mouse may stop working. So I see on the list different requests. So the recent one is pending, and the status is pending approval. So by the way, there is an approval process embedded in the tool. So imagine user asking for something which is exceeds his quota and so on. We can implement approval. Me as an admin at the moment, I can approve this request myself. So I'm just saying, okay.
So as I understand, you just log in. So it's a self-service oriented platform. So you're one of the users in a company. You requested your service. So you see, I would like to get this machine or this type of the service inside my company. You just requested, and everything is started to provision, automate. So the VM will create it, etc., etc.
Exactly. I have a list of requests. When I click on one, on the recent one, I see who was the requester, when was requested, what is the parameters specified in a dialog. So I see basically the information about the request, and I can approve or not, right? Or ask to modify it. So that's.
So let's come back to the slide. So let's wait for the final results.
Right.
In the meantime, we'll go through the different layers, and we'll explain how we see these roles are crucial for the modern data center. Yes.
Yeah, let's go through the slides, and let's speak about particular components of this demo, or actually this automation system.
Okay.
Share your screen now if your mouse is working.
It's not easy. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Sure. No worries, should be good. Do you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so you just use the CloudForms to provision the Red Hat machine on the Red Hat virtualization. So we'll create a VM, and Ansible will do all of the magic from the WordPress. So after 10 minutes of our speech, we will see the final results, yes?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Hope it works. So let's go from the different layers. So let's start with the oVirt Red Hat virtualization. So Wojciech, could you a little bit tell about where we are today?
Yeah, so at the moment you have different options, and one of the options is using traditional virtualization. So if you have proper orchestration and automation tools, you can really use traditional virtualization to build a private cloud based on it. And oVirt or Red Hat virtualization is the perfect example. So this is a very classical approach. We have virtual data center, storage, clusters, hosts, and gives us high availability of the virtual machine we are running, right? So you can use this platform for anything, but in particular, it's very good to use as for the stateful workload.
Okay, so if I would like to compare, so the oVirt and Red Hat virtualization is like a Hyper-V on a VMware, yes? Or yeah, even better in many areas, yes?
It is better actually, but yeah, you can.
I knew that you say like that.
But you can compare. But what I was trying to say, there is always a space for traditional virtualization. When you imagine a control plane, you have, for example, OpenStack or OpenShift, the Kubernetes implementation, or the other static stateful workload like I don't know, Active Directory server, or I don't know, vCenter, Manager, database. Those kind of things, they really live good, and they work well on traditional virtualization. So that's
we have a traditional. What's next?
Yeah, and the next is I call it cloud virtualization, but actually it's OpenStack. It's much more than just virtualization. It's a framework to build cloud native, flexible workload for your data center. So if you're looking at the components here, OpenStack is very modular, right? Different modules are actually different projects responsible for different functionalities to your cloud. Someone called OpenStack cloud operating system because
when I should think about the OpenStack if I'm comparing the oVirt and the Red Hat virtualization.
So anywhere when you think about stateless workload,
okay.
If you have, or maybe something that is extremely scalable, you can scale it out and in, back, and really a huge scale. So big OpenStack implementations are thousands of compute nodes, for example, right?
Okay.
And flexibility to use different backends, etc. So this is the cloud virtualization. I just use this term because I think it matches today's topic and reflects the functionality. And the other thing, it's a bit exotic at the moment, right? But let me explain a bit. And there is a project called KubeVirt. It's a Kubernetes platform or OpenShift in Red Hat implementation, which gives you possibility to manage container workload at scale. And in addition,
it's funny because you put the VM inside the container, yes?
Not, yeah, exactly. That's
in an opposite way that normally workloads looks like right now. Is you put the containers on the VMs in most cases, or the containers on the physical machines, yes?
Yeah, it's not actually. It makes a lot of sense when you think about standardizing the platform. If you choose to run everything in the containers, but you have something that has to be on a virtual machine, something that requires a specific kernel version, something that, I don't know, some Windows workload, something that you really want to isolate inside virtual machine, you can use the same platform, container platform, but the virtual machine will be run inside the pod, inside container. So that's the idea. And so you can standardize on modern, trends, PaaS platform, container platform, and still have the same interface, the same tool to run virtual machines. So that's the very big, powerful message.
Okay.
Actually, this is going to happen very soon. So then you need something to make the job for you, right? So to automate the things. You don't want to deal and install anything or configure anything manually. So Ansible, it's another actually leading technology for the automation, for the configuration management. So you see three boxes here. So if you start from the left, you just can quickly build a playbook and play and run some configuration changes or some automation on a few hosts. Then you can manage it better, like you really build a repository of playbooks, etc. So you have really processes automated well. And when you reach a certain scale, you go and you may use Ansible Tower. Ansible Tower, I'll show you on the demo today as well, is a management interface for all your Ansible automation in a data center. So when you imagine a huge data center, it's a lot of automation, and you need to have control over it. So you have users, delegations, you keep secrets in one safe place. You have visibility in terms of graphical interface, what went wrong, what went well. Central point to keep all the control of the automation flows.
Okay. The question to my friend, when I should start to consider the Ansible playbooks and Ansible, using Ansible in my virtual environments, in my data center, should I start today without any hesitation? Or again, when is the good start, yes?
I think you should have started way back. I mean, few months, if not years already, because there are always things that could be automated, right? When you imagine scripts, it's nice when you know them, but when someone else jumps to do something, to fix something, and see someone else's scripts, that's a bit of headache, right? Also, probably using a lot of daily routine operations which can be automated, right? You will not make any manual mistake anymore when you automate things, when you standardize the configuration process. There is no configuration drift, etc. So Ansible is really something that should be implemented already. And then we're coming to the orchestration part. So how to manage all the things together. Red Hat CloudForms or Manage IQ project. That's the tool that lets you consolidate all the data center technologies, virtualization, private cloud, public cloud also, into one control panel. You have one dashboard, you see all the data center in one place. And this can create for you, as we can see in our demo, automated workload, right? It can place your workload based on different attributes, parameters in a local virtualization.
I love the story because, you know, if we have a different workloads like VMware, Hyper-V, Red Hat Virtualization, we can have a single pane of glass, so we can control it everything from one place. And of course, we have a huge options to automate it, or even to talk with the third-party platforms via the RESTful API, or even more. Yes, we'll not consider it everything today on a demo, but this can be a beautiful start to think about not VM approach, but a service catalog oriented approach. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end, you give your users control, right? Or the service catalog to consume. You assign quotas, you assign permissions, and you can also do the chargeback. You see what is the consumption, who is using how much, right? So it gives you some business visibility. And health check, monitoring, reporting, a lot of things. Different control policies. So you can check compliance. You can use control policies to really respond to the live events. If someone, for example, started cloning a VM or, I don't know, shutting down or something, you can respond immediately, automatically. For example, this is our database. We don't allow to clone it. And CloudForms will send a cancel task to the virtualization platform.
So Wojciech, coming back to our demo, let's right now skip and move to your screen again. So I will stop sharing, and let's see what we just clicked a few minutes ago. It was 10 minutes ago, I guess. So let's see what happened, and let's explain right now, based on the knowledge that we just shared with the last few screens, why it's working like that. Yes.
Sure. Let's see how it went. Oh, nice. I think we just had live demo, as I said. Okay. It was working before. Okay. Anyway, we have examples to show. So let me see my services. Okay. So I have WordPress service here. This is what has been created. And this one, okay. It has created a virtual machine. So let me jump a bit through the particular system. So first of all, Red Hat Virtualization. Here is the interface. We normally don't have to do it. It's just for the lab purposes to understand what's going on underneath. To show you what happened actually when I click the provisioning. So let's see the events. And say WordPress, we see that the WordPress started, right? It has been created, configuration updated accordingly, and we have WordPress VM started. We can go and see the VM. This is our demo, so we have hundreds of different workshops machines. So this is our virtual machine, which is running at the moment. I didn't check what went wrong, but looks like VM has been created at least. Then our Ansible. So to use Ansible, we need to have a playbooks repository. So this is the WordPress install repo, and this is the main playbook called site, which installs, applies different roles. So there is 5 different roles that has been applied: Common, MariaDB, Nginx, PHP, and WordPress. And each particular role has its own directory here. So that's just basic repository of to keep our Ansible playbooks, right? Let's say tasks, and here is, for example, task that installed the WordPress, the last component. And we use this GitLab repo in our Ansible. So let me just click. Okay. This is Ansible Tower, the GUI that shows us the progress, right? We have here the status failed, but you can click on something that was successful previously. So we can see the task, what happened here. We can see the dashboard in general, what is going on here, right? When we click on the job template, we can see that this is the playbook that was implemented or run. The inventory is RHV dynamic. It means it dynamically synchronizes inventory with Red Hat Virtualization. So this is very important because Ansible need to know which machine it should apply the playbook, etc. So we see the Ansible tasks here. And when we go back to the CloudForms, we can go and check. Actually, probably this one will not be working, but let me use the other one that works. Actually, the same thing that was run this morning. We have a service and associated virtual machine. This is called test2 at the moment. When we click, we have all the parameters about this machine. This is a unified view for every virtual machine in your data center. It doesn't matter which virtualization platform are you using, right? So we have IP address here, and we can easily check if this is something that works. Let me check. Yeah, here we go. So this is exactly the other service that was run the same way. We have WordPress working.
So we can imagine that if we have a complex environment from the, let's say, development perspective or QA perspective, so we can schedule easily the service that is related to 10 on even 12 VMs, and every VM can be pre-configured and ready from the service layer perspective, yes?
Exactly. So let me show you how the definition looks of the service, right? We have service item. Okay. This is our service bundle. Actually, we have items. One item is one virtual machine, one or more, which are run from the same table.
So we don't see the VM level, we see the service catalog level, yes? That's gathering the many VMs into the service, okay?
And we have bundle, which consists of 2 components. First is a VM, and the other is tower job, right? So Ansible job. And we bundle those 2 elements together, defining the action and provision order and power on, power off order, etc. So you can imagine here much more items, like different VMs on one platform, some cloud instances, some containers, and associated Ansible task for
So you said that the CloudForms is on the top. So when you just created the request, what actually you've done on the Red Hat virtualization engine?
Red Hat virtualization was engaged in the moment when this part was created, the VM, right? So we saw the VM has been created, and on top of it, once it's created, the second action order, provision order here was the Ansible.
Okay, could you show this VM on the Red Hat virtualization UI? Yeah. So I would like to see, of course, typically, if you have a CloudForms, you don't need to go to the Red Hat virtualization. But in the example, we would like to show that when we create the request, actually we provision to create this VM via the RESTful API.
Exactly. So this is the Red Hat virtualization interface, and we see WordPress and this test tool. That is another example of the same service, which has been created. And we can see here, let's say, yeah, we have already WordPress. What happened with this VM has been created, and test two. That's another one. We can see the history and what has been logged with this object. So that's the backend operation that initiated by CloudForms.
And the same we can go to the Ansible and see that this playbooks, this orchestration is managed via CloudForms, yes?
Exactly. So this is the job template. And when you go to dashboard, we can see, for example, the last task which was not successful. And it is saying, it gives us information what happened, unable to start MariaDB for some reason. Okay, this something happened. We have visibility, right? Okay. When you go to something that went well, like this.
No, it's, you know, it's typical, you know, MariaDB took a bribe from the competition and she refused to work during a demo. So I used to know the Maria, so it's normal.
So that's normal, okay. But at least we have visibility, we have the track, what happened, who ran what, etc. Right? And even in a graphical interface. So we have in Tower we have, you know, hosts, inventories, projects, etc. All the configuration for our automation in whole data center.
So coming back, Wojciech, to CloudForms, could you explain? So let's imagine that we have hundreds of the different VMs. We have hundreds of the playbooks. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I understand that ManageIQ, aka CloudForms, give us a beautiful way how to, you know, cope with this kind of the complexity. So this is one of the major roles in a, you know, scalable data center, that we can start from the few VMs. Mm-hmm. And it can be the Red Hat virtualization of oVirt, but then if we would like to go further, we can put on top different layers like Ansible, like CloudForms, and you know, keep the scale going. Yes.
Exactly. And underneath we may have different virtualization engines, many, right? We have vCenter here and Rev, but when we click and try to add a new one, we can see that we have also a Hyper-V option here. Mm-hmm. When we go to the cloud menu here, cloud has a separate menus because it uses different naming, different, yeah. So we have AWS and OpenStack here. When we go to and add new cloud provider, we can see the options of also Google, Cloud Engine, and Azure. So we can actually manage much more than one virtualization. We can manage whole data center, including public cloud providers. Plus the containers, right? We have containers here, and we can also use OpenShift to build containers, and we can use existing OpenStack or virtualization to run OpenShift on top of it, and it's all correlated. That's the beauty. Let me try to see if I can see. No, cannot see. Oh yeah, we can see the topology, right? So, so if we display the names, we can understand. Okay, it's quite a, you know, a lot of objects here to easily read, but you can correlate which, for example, container runs on which node, and this node is a virtual machine on which platform. Is all correlated from top to bottom, so we can see visibility.
I can believe that we can move forward and talk about it, you know, few hours, but we wanted to give you the high level perspective, what we can do easily, and what's the role of the CloudForm, what's the role of the oVirt, and what's the role of the Ansible if we put together all of the pieces. Yes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, the virtualization role in our data center needs to be something that exists and it's completely transparent. It's scalable, it's powerful, it's rock solid, but we don't really need to deal with this. Not creating VMs manually anymore, not changing not any daily routines. We should be using higher level tools to really use virtualization as a backend. So that's the main idea, and then we can take our time. Use our time to do something more business related, something really smarter than just repeating daily routines.
Okay, fair enough. So I think we have a time right now for the questions. So looking forward to have some. So let's wait. Wojtek, thank you for your demo. From my perspective, it worked. Doesn't mean if somebody took a bribe or not. Yes, I will speak with Maria later on.
Okay, but at least we know what happened, right? We can different logs and understand what happened and fix it. This was just
exactly
something set up quickly. But I hope it just displayed and just showed our idea of the whole environment.
So let's wait a few seconds. If anybody has a question, you feel free to put on a Zoom group chat or just unmute your mic and just speak and let us know. Okie doke, you have your chances. So Wojciech, I would like to really thank you for your time to sharing us the insight about the role of the open virtualizations. I will look forward to get some questions later on after the sessions. Of course, we just recorded this demo. We just recorded the whole webinar, so we will share with the other specialists using a YouTube channel. But also you will find a script what we've done on the openvirtualization.pro portal. Anything else from your side, my friend?
No, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here. It was my pleasure
to
speak with you guys, and I hope it might make sense for everyone.
Okay, so have a great day. Stay in touch, and Wojciech for sure will come back with the other insights, and hopefully we'll have a chance to go much more deep, especially in the CloudForms area, because this is a major player and actually the game changer for today's virtualization engines.
Yeah, thank you, Paweł.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.